The night her world collapsed, rain stitched the city into a blur of silver lines. Lin Xia stood outside the glass tower she had helped build, her resignation letter trembling in her hand. 10 years of loyalty, sleepless nights, and swallowed pride had ended with one sentence spoken softly in a boardroom she thought was home: "We're letting you go." The betrayal cut deeper because it came from the people she trusted most, her mentor, her closest colleague, and the men she once loved. As the doors closed behind her, she didn't cry. She made a vow instead. She would never again beg for a place at someone else's table. The backstab had been clean and calculated. Her project, the one she had poured her heart into, was claimed by her colleague Mei as her own. The mentor who promised to protect her signed the papers without looking Lin Xia in the eye. And her boyfriend, Wei Jun, chose ambition over honesty, standing beside Mei as if they had always been meant to be. Overnight, Lin Xia became the villain of a story she didn't write. The rumors spread fast, and the silence from those she defended spread faster. With nothing left to lose, Lin Xia accepted a position no one else wanted: executive assistant to the coldest CEO in the city, Shen Chen. His reputation was legendary, brilliant, ruthless, and emotionally distant. He ran his empire like a machine, efficient and unforgiving. People warned her not to expect kindness. They said he would crush her. But Lin Xia needed a fortress, not comfort. She needed to lock herself down where no one could reach her again. From the first day, Shen Chen noticed her. Not because she tried to impress him, but because she didn't. She spoke clearly, worked quietly, and never flinched under pressure. When meetings turned hostile, she absorbed the heat and kept going. When others tried to undermine her, she documented everything and moved on. He watched her rebuild herself brick by brick, and something in his guarded heart shifted. What Lin Xia didn't know was that Shen Chen had known her long before she walked into his office. Years ago, when his company was struggling, it was her research paper that helped him pivot a failing strategy. He had followed her career from afar, admiring her integrity and resilience. He never reached out, believing someone like him would only weigh her down. When she appeared before him, wounded but unbroken, he recognized the strength he had always respected. The challenges came quickly. Mei's company launched a smear campaign, accusing Lin Xia of leaking confidential data. The media pounced, and investors grew nervous. Inside the office, whispers followed her down the hall. Shen Chen called her into his office late one night, the city glowing behind him. He didn't ask if the rumors were true. He asked how he could help. It was the first time in months that someone stood beside her without doubt. Together, they fought back. Lin Xia uncovered the real leak, tracing it to Mei's team with calm precision. Shen Chen gave her the authority she needed and stood publicly in her defense. The truth surfaced, and the accusations collapsed. For Lin Xia, it wasn't just a professional victory. It was the moment she realized she didn't have to fight alone. As weeks turned into months, the walls between them softened. Shen Chen learned to trust beyond numbers and projections. Lin Xia learned that vulnerability was not weakness. One evening, after a long day of negotiations, he finally told her the truth: how he had admired her for years, how he never expected fate to place her by his side like this. She listened in silence, tears threatening to fall, not from pain this time, but from relief. When Wei Jun tried to return, filled with regret and excuses, Lin Xia felt nothing but clarity. She chose herself. She chose the men who saw her worth when she had forgotten it herself. The decision was quiet, but it echoed through her life. In the end, Lin Xia didn't just survive betrayal. She transformed it into the foundation of a new beginning. Shen Chen, once the coldest CEO in the city, learned that strength could be gentle and love could be steady. Together, they built something honest, something lasting. The story of Lin Xia is not about revenge. It is about resilience. It is about choosing dignity over despair and trusting that even after the deepest betrayal, life can still surprise you with loyalty, growth, and love. When one door closes in betrayal, another opens in truth, and sometimes, the coldest hands are the ones that hold you the safest. Chapter 2 begins on a morning that feels unfamiliar to Lin Xia, not because the city has changed, but because she has. Sunlight slips through the curtains of her small apartment, and for the first time in months, she doesn't wake up with dread tightening her chest. The storm of betrayal has passed, but its echoes still live in her thoughts. She knows healing is not a straight road. It is a series of choices, and today, she chooses to keep moving forward. At the office, the atmosphere shifts. People who once whispered now greet her carefully, unsure of where she stands after the scandal collapsed. Lin Xia doesn't seek their approval. She focuses on her work, her step steady, her voice calm. Shen Yichen watches from a distance. He notices the way she carries herself, not proud, not bitter, just firm. It confirms what he already believes: her strength doesn't come from winning, but from enduring. Their professional bond deepens under pressure. A major overseas deal threatens to fall apart when a rival company spreads false information again, targeting Shen Yichen this time. The board grows restless, and old fears rise. Lin Xia volunteers to lead the crisis response, knowing full well that one mistake could undo everything she rebuilt. The risk is enormous, but so is her resolve. Long nights follow. Coffee grows cold. Files pile up. In the quiet hours, when the city sleeps, Lin Xia and Shen Yichen work side by side. Conversations drift from strategy to silence, and sometimes to truths neither plan to share. Shen Yichen admits that power once felt like armor, but lately it feels heavy. Lin Xia confesses that trust still scares her more than failure. In those moments, something fragile and real takes shape between them. The rivals' lies unravel faster than expected. Lin Xia anticipates their moves, exposing contradictions with precision. When the deal is saved, the board applauds Shen Yichen, but he redirects the credit to her. It is a simple gesture, yet it shakes Lin Xia deeply. Recognition without conditions feels unfamiliar, almost dangerous. Outside the office, the world tests her again. Mei appears unexpectedly, no longer confident, asking for forgiveness, explaining how fear and ambition twisted her choices. Lin Xia listens, heart steady. Forgiveness, she realizes, is not forgetting. It is releasing the weight that no longer belongs to her. She walks away without anger, lighter than she has felt in years. As Chapter 2 closes, Lin Xia stands on the rooftop of the company building, watching the city lights flicker on. Shen Yichen joins her, not as a CEO, not as an admirer, but as a man learning to be present. They don't promise forever. They don't rush names for what they are becoming. They simply stand there, side by side, knowing that after betrayal and silence, choosing to trust again is the bravest step of all. Chapter 3 opens with a silence that feels heavier than noise. Lin Xia senses it before anyone says a word. Shen Yichen has changed. Not in his work, his decisions are as sharp as ever, but in the spaces between moments, in the pauses where warmth had begun to grow. He becomes distant, guarded again, as if he has stepped back behind an invisible wall. For Lin Xia, the shift awakens old fears she thought she had buried. The reason reveals itself in fragments. Shen Yichen's mother returns from abroad, carrying expectations carved from tradition and power. To her, relationships are strategies, and marriage is an alliance. She makes it clear that Lin Xia, with her bruised past and controversial reputation, does not fit the future she has planned for her son. The pressure is subtle but relentless, seeping into board meetings, family dinners, and even the media. At the same time, a deeper crisis strikes the company. A long-hidden flaw in a flagship project threatens massive losses. Investors panic, and competitors circle like vultures. Shen Yichen is forced to choose between transparency and short-term survival. The board urges him to hide the truth. Lin Xia advises honesty, knowing it may cost them everything. The decision becomes a test not just of leadership, but of trust between them. The strain pulls them apart. Shen Yichen, burdened by family duty and corporate responsibility, grows cold again, believing distance will protect her. Lin Xia interprets his silence as rejection. Old wounds reopen. One night, after a harsh meeting and an even harsher argument, she hands in her resignation once more. This time, it hurts more than the first. Walking away is harder than staying. Lin Xia faces doubt, loneliness, and the terrifying question of whether love always demands sacrifice. But she doesn't break. She starts consulting independently, using her skills to help smaller companies with integrity issues. Word spreads. Clients respect her honesty. Slowly, she rebuilds again, this time on her own terms. Meanwhile, the truth catches up to Shen Yichen. The project flaw becomes public, exactly as Lin Xia warned. Losses are heavy, but the company survives because of the trust his transparency earns. Standing alone in his office one night, he realizes that the greatest loss wasn't financial. It was her absence. The chapter closes with Shen stepping into a modest cafe, far from glass towers and boardrooms. Lin Xia looks up, surprised but calm. He doesn't apologize with grand speeches. He tells the truth. He admits his fear, his mistakes, and his admiration for the woman who taught him courage. Lin Xia listens, her heart steady. Chapter 3 ends not with an answer, but with a choice hanging in the air, whether two strong souls can meet again, not out of need, but out of respect and love. Chapter 4 begins with a choice finally spoken aloud. Lin Xia doesn't answer Shen immediately. She asks him to sit, orders 2 cups of coffee, and lets the silence breathe. This time, she refuses to be rushed by fear or longing. She tells him calmly that she will not return to any place, professionally or emotionally, where she might be hidden, protected, or sacrificed for someone else's comfort. If he wants her beside him, it must be in the open, with equal ground and equal respect. Shen listens without interrupting. There is no defense left in him now, no armor. He agrees, not as a CEO making a deal, but as a man making a promise. He tells her he is ready to face his mother, the board, and the world without choosing safety over truth again. For the first time, Lin Xia believes him, not because of his words, but because of the calm certainty behind them. The challenges do not disappear. When Shen introduces Lin Xia publicly as his partner, backlash follows instantly. Headlines twist the narrative. Old rumors resurface. His mother's disappointment turns into cold distance. Investors question his judgment. The pressure is enormous, but this time, Shen does not step back. He stands firm, and Lin Xia stands with him, not behind him. Lin Xia's independent consulting firm grows rapidly, yet success brings its own test. A powerful client offers her a contract that would require cutting ethical corners. The money could secure her future instantly. Shen never interferes, never advises, he trusts her. Lin Xia declines the offer, choosing integrity over ease. It is a quiet victory, but one that defines who she has become. Gradually, the noise fades. Results speak louder than rumors. Shen company stabilizes under transparent leadership. Lin Xia's firm gains a reputation for honesty and strength. Even Shen mother begins to see what she cannot control, a woman who does not cling, manipulate, or submit, but stands with dignity. The chapter closes on an ordinary evening. No cameras. No boardrooms. Lin Xia and Shen cook dinner together in a small apartment, laughing over burnt food and shared stories. The love between them is no longer dramatic or fragile. It is steady, chosen every day. Chapter 4 ends with a simple truth: the strongest relationships are not built by locking someone down, but by walking forward together, unafraid of the world.